Hello, today I'm going to demo how VitalSigns monitors Microsoft Exchange on-premise servers, and I'm going to introduce a powerful new feature called Power Scripts. So here's the agenda. I'm going to start off in the dashboard. I'm going to do a deep dive into an individual Exchange server. I'm going to show you the server health overview page. We're going to do the same thing with database availability groups. That is, we're going to take a look at an individual DAG and on the overview page for DAGs. I'm going to show you one of our new key metrics, Exchange mailboxes and users. We'll also take a look at some reports, and then I'm going to show you Power Scripts. All right, with no further ado. So here's the VitalSigns dashboard. You see at a glance how many servers are completely not responding, how many are issue free, and how many have issues. And for instance, this number 16 here is made up of different servers, like there are 7 Domino servers with issues and 1 Exchange server with issue and 2 Notes databases and so forth. So the way that it works is if you wanted to take a dive into all the servers with issues, you click on the issue list, or if you wanted to look just at a specific server type, you can click either on the number to see the Exchange server with an issue, or you can click on the word Exchange to see all the Exchange servers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click on this server, the Exchange 2013-1 server, and you see we have an overall health tab, and that shows you over the last 24 hours the response time, the CPU usage, the availability, the memory, and disk space, and so forth. You'll see this particular server has been up and down like crazy the last 24 hours. It turns out that is because of a tunneling issue. That's real live data. Click on the health assessment. How do we determine that this Exchange server has an issue? Well, we did by running a series of tests against the server. These are primarily PowerShell scripts that we run in the background, but occasionally we also do some like native protocol testing. So we show you the list of the tests, whether the test passed or failed, when we performed the test, and some information about why it was a pass or why it was a fail. We also show you the value of the various queues over the last 24 hours, any upcoming maintenance windows, if any events that have been detected, and so forth. So let me go over to the Exchange Health Overview page. This is designed to show you all your Exchange servers at once. Lots of companies have tens or perhaps even hundreds of these, so it's nice to see them all on a single screen, and you can click for more information on some of these as well, but I'm going to skip over that for right now. Now we're going to take a look at database availability groups. So I'm going to go back out to the dashboard, and I'm going to click on database availability groups. It looks like I caught it in the middle of one of those tunneling issues, but that's okay. This is real stuff. So I'm going to click on the Exchange 13 DAG server. And one of the things that it shows you is the database activation preferences. These are all in green. If a database was not mounted in its order of preference, that would show up as something color coded. Shows you the 2 servers that are the members of this DAG and the various tests that were performed against those servers, and the various tests performed against the DAG for that particular server, and those all passed. The last time that they were done, that is. Some more detail about the databases and the activation. And finally, the health assessment, which shows you the various tests and when they performed. You'll see that the last time we tested the database at 10:30 in the morning, these all tests passed, but at 11 o'clock the DAG stopped responding, so obviously we did not do any follow-up testing because you can't really test something that is not responding beyond that. Okay, let's jump over to mailboxes and users. That's one of our key metrics. So one of the things that we do is we pull all the users and all the mailboxes out of your Exchange environment, and this is where I'm going to introduce Power Scripts. So let's say, for example, you have a user who, and most companies have users like this, which are constantly bumping up against their quota, and they think they're special and that the quota should just be increased. Well, if that's the case, sometimes that's true, so I'm just going to find that user show you how easy it is to fix this. And here what I'm going to do is introduce power scripts. So before I do that, let me switch over and explain what power scripts are. Power scripts are a library of approved PowerShell scripts that can be executed from within VitalSigns. And you can run these against servers or against mailboxes. And only users who have the power scripts role would even see these buttons. So you can give executives access to the dashboard and not have to worry about them running power script commands. Only authorized people. And what's especially cool about it is that they execute with the stored credentials associated with a server. So there's some big benefits that come from using power scripts. The first one is risk mitigation. So junior administrators who might need to bump up the quota of a specific user, they don't need a copy of the credentials to execute these power scripts. Now, normally what would happen is a user would launch the PowerShell integrated development environment, they would create a session, and then they would execute the script. But once an end user knows the credentials, there's nothing other than company policy really to prevent users from running any script that they want. Now they can have bad intentions, or maybe they could just make a syntax mistake, but there's a risk to allowing junior administrators to execute PowerShell scripts. And if they do it from within VitalSigns, they can only execute the approved ones. Now, you don't need to understand how PowerShell works to use these things. You just pick them from the list and fill in the parameters and click execute. Of course, companies can add their own scripts to the library to empower others, because it is typical for companies that have Exchange on-prem to have a library of power scripts of their own, but typically these are just owned by a senior administrator or the person who understands them. And the last bit is that if you run these power scripts from within VitalSigns, there will be an audit trail which shows you who ran the script and when they ran it. So let's go back to VitalSigns here. So if I wanted to give Wes a little bit more room on his mailbox quota, I can just click this. I can just select this script from the list and click execute, and that PowerShell script will run on the VitalSigns workstation, create the session using the credentials, run it against this account name, and return back the results to you. I'm not going to do that one, but I'll do mailbox information just to show you how it works. When the script finishes, it will update the box output from PowerShell here with either the results of the script, if the script was to actually take an action against the mailbox, or in this case, it's just returning back information about the mailbox. So here you can see things like, is there a litigation hold, or how long is the litigation hold in place? Is it a shared mailbox? Pretty much everything there could possibly be, what the quotas are, and so forth. And you can grab this stuff and copy to the clipboard and pass it along to another colleague or whatever you need to do with it. So it's super cool. Power scripts can be run against mailboxes. They can also be run against servers. I'll show you that in just 1 second. But while I'm here, let me show you in the Users tab. What we do is we run a series of PowerShell scripts and figure out all the mailboxes that the user has access to, and what those mailboxes are. So we've got just a little bit of sample data here. Pick a user that's got access to more than one, click the mailbox access grid, and it shows you all the mailboxes that user has access to and what the size of those mailboxes are, so that you can identify if a user is coming up against the hard limit of the Outlook client mailbox size, where the size is coming from, and maybe they don't need access to all the mailboxes that they currently have access to. Okay, let me jump over to running PowerShell power scripts against servers. So this is also just as easy. You click the server, click the power scripts tab, and then you can pull down from any number of scripts. Let's say I want to make sure all the services are running on the box, or maybe I want to look at some of the queues. I'm just going to click Services Overview, click Execute. Once the script finishes, it updates the box below here with the output from PowerShell. In this case, I've asked the Exchange server to list all the services that are related to the different services. So the mailbox server role, are there required services running? Yes, they are. Are there any required services not running? There are none. So that's a reassuring thing. Pretty awesome, actually. So what's particularly cool about these Power scripts is that you can extend it with scripts of your own, and that means that somebody who really knows what they're doing with Exchange admin can write a script, publish it to the library, and then junior administrators can run the script safely. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is some of the Exchange on-prem reports. So I'm going to click on Reports and Microsoft Exchange. And some of these reports that are particularly cool are identifying problems that end users might have. So again, with the report showing the user total mail access, this is a report, whereas the other one was more of a grid. The list of users who are approaching their quota, if you use quotas, is particularly interesting. We don't use quotas internally, but when we do, they show up on the list here. Another thing that tends to cause problems in the Outlook client is if users either have a lot of folders or if they have a lot of folders with a lot of items in there. So we've got a couple of things related to the end user folder count, also the number of items they have. Item count shows you the Exchange mailboxes by the ones that have the most items in it, where item size is, it may not necessarily have the most items in it, but it's still the biggest one. One of the things where users tend to get in trouble is if they have too many folders. So we have a report that shows you who's got the single biggest folders, and you can also click and drill down in on that so you can see what the folders are. And also people who have the biggest folders in terms of size. All right, so that wraps up our tour of monitoring Microsoft Exchange on-prem. And I will leave you with this last thought, that the Power scripts also run on SharePoint on-prem service, and they also run on Microsoft Office 365, because that is the primary scripting language that Microsoft uses for allowing administrators to make changes to their environment, and Power Scripts now allows you to automate and control that. So very excited to offer that.